Welcome back. We are here for the Between Darkened Mirrors, episode 16. So, uh, a bit happened last time, and unfortunately, our player for Victor will not be able to join us this evening, so hopefully, he'll be able to join us for next session. But we will soldier on. But let's start with some previously on. If our players remember, it's been a little bit, so just want to ask like what you guys remember from last time, and I'll try to fill in the blanks as best as I can. Okay, so whoever wants to start.
I don't know how much I have to add, but Lord James Campbell-Hughes did not go to the Royal Explorers Club and instead went to Cremor Gardens with Whitmore, and we split. I think who did Vic? No, Doc went with Whitmore, and so, but Lord James basically had a really cool scene that was a mastermind clue with some butterflies that were on display at Cremor Gardens, and he was heading to talk to the owner.
Meanwhile, Whitmore and Doc went down to the waterfront near where the creature had been seen, where we got to chatting with a local painter who, I say, stalling, looking at the threats tab for people, James Whistler, a local artist, and found some clues down by the waterside. And if memory serves, learned a little bit about why Whitmore's not taking Doc to the bowling alley.
Yes, I believe that some Doc was able to lay out to Whitmore that he had been previously employed at the American Saloon at the Gardens and had been fired after, I forget what we landed on, but generally the rowdiness you would expect from an American and also specifically Doc Roy McBain. So he didn't seem eager to run into any of his old coworkers, especially not the boss of the place. And am I having a total delusion, or was Whistler American as well?
Yes, Whistler was American.
Also an expat. Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I feel like he gave us more than just this, but I did make a specific note that he mentioned something violent and bad happening at a local dive bar, which I got directions to. But it seems pretty clear to me, I think, that involves probably Peas Blossom.
Yeah. The guy just crossed Peas Blossom's path, and Peas Blossom took it out on him in a very fatal way. So, yeah.
More echoing of our conflict into the future. That's how it goes.
It is. Yes.
Oh, and I smelled rubber in the mud.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. That's one of the clues. Oh, and well, let's do this in order. So, okay, so everybody remembered pretty much what they were doing, and then I will say that Victor had seen Greco, the second sighted boy, and gotten a little bit of information there, and came out to hearing a strange song that was sung by Melody, of all people, and she was talking with someone in a burgundy hood, and that's where we left off from last time. But we'll leave Victor in that section of things. Who knows what might have happened? And then we'll engage you three. Okay, but before we jump right into the scenes, let's take a look at the threats as they are right now. So, Monochromatic Men is resolved. So we have Limehouse Lurker. Limehouse Lurker, as far as I know, we did answer the question on that with a 10 on the roll, which is fantastic. So you guys will succeed in whatever you decide to do for night phase, because we cannot resolve any threats until night phase. Yeah, and you had 6 clues for it. So, I mean, again, like, if you can remember anything about, like, what you wanted to do to resolve, you just decided that the vampire's lair is in the basement of Limehouse School, and that the place needed to be evacuated because shit was going to go down. Yep.
Yeah, we got that was my my move.
Mhm.
Her Majesty the Queen, where I got basically permission to like do some urban renewal in Limehouse.
Yes. Okay, so you did get confirmation of that from a mysterious stranger. And then Cremorne Gardens. So you have the threshold question, which is the creature real or is it a hoax? Which unlocks the next appropriate question, which is a complexity 4. And you guys have 5 clues on the board. Doc, you stumbled onto a clue, I think, from a vulnerable move, so you need to just shove a clue in there which cannot conclusively answer the question. Okay. But yeah, we'd need a clue if you wanted to apply that towards this first threshold question. Okay. So just think on that. And then West End Wraith is the newest mystery, newest threat that we have on the board. The threshold question is Lily DeVere or Billy Bowman the target of the Wraith's obsession, and does the Wraith seek to help or harm them? Complexity 2. So again, threshold question, unlocking the next appropriate question. And then you only have 1 clue on the board for that. Okay? So, best get to investigating. We still have some day phase left for whatever you would like to do. So I will ask you, in reviewing all those threats, it's like, where do you folks want to go now?
I know that the original thought was for Doc and Victor to take out the Limehouse lurker, but as Victor's not here, I'm not sure how we want to handle that. But I don't think Whitmore is the best to tackle that one.
Well, we're still in day phase, so
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
yeah, no problem. So what would you guys like to do?
I still want to talk to the owner of Cremor Gardens, so
No problem.
I'd like to do at least a scene there to see what his take is on this creature.
Okay. Alrighty.
And I think Doc was interested in following up on that Peas Blossom sighting, also because that dive bar, if I'm not mistaken, is like close nearby, so it also might be a good place to overhear rumblings having to do with the creature.
Okay. Sure.
In that case, I imagine that Whitmore's going to stick around in Cremorne Gardens, an attempt to hopefully find Lord James Campbell-Hughes in the gardens, but probably ending up running into Melody. Who knows?
Okay.
But enjoying the afternoon in the gardens.
I'm gonna address Lord James Campbell-Hughes first. While I am doing that, Doc, you need to figure out a name for this dive bar. All right, because Whistler was only able to give you directions to this place. He could not remember for the life of him the name of the thing. Okay.
Gotcha.
Because he wasn't there last night. He was actually over. He was being told this story by his friend who was there. Okay.
Gotcha.
Alrighty. Okay. So Lord James Campbell-Hughes, you are going to be. You've left the butterfly display, and you've heard your confirmation. And I think as you're wandering around, I think you see a rather nervous looking man who is going to each of the different locations and kind of looking very, like directing like what needs to be done, and then kind of like, just, kind of tapping at a pocket watch, to, state time and such, like to try to get things ready for the evening. Okay. And you see a gentleman who has a pert mustache, thinning hair, very nervous and excitable. And I think you could pretty much, confirm that would be Thomas Simpson. He is the proprietor of Cremorne.
I would approach him and say, Mr. Thomas Simpson, I presume.
Yes. Can I help you, sir?
Well, perhaps I'm Lord James Campbell-Hughes, and I must say that the Cremorne Gardens has really blossomed here in the Chain Walk. It's really blossomed. And you're the person responsible for this.
Yes, I am. Absolutely. And it very much warms my heart to hear you say that I have helped the gardens become the blossom, the beautiful blossom that it is. Yes, because ours is the best
Oh, no
of
doubt.
any.
It's no doubt it's a shame that there's all this talk about this creature when there's probably some plausible explanation, is there not?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's inconsequential. I mean, it's something strange that wandered over from the docks, or it could be even like a possible rival from some of these competing uh, playgrounds per se that want to give us a bad reputation, which is awful, awful of them. Bad business.
I'm gonna I'm gonna try to do an investigation roll
Mhm.
and press him for more information with the line that, oh yes, I'm sure that's what you're required to say as a proprietor, but there's talk that maybe some competitor is trying to sabotage your dude success. Has this crossed your mind, sir?
Okay. All right. So go ahead and roll information. Yeah. I mean, presence always seems to be the fitting one if you're going to be speaking with someone.
Presence 2. And I got a 6, so that makes it an 8.
Okay.
And you know what?
Mm.
I'm not spending any mask, so I'm gonna spend a mask to bump that up to a solid 10.
Ooh.
Just
Okay.
because I'm not really using my mask.
Okay.
So I'm gonna do that.
Okay. Okay. Cool. 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 All right. So on a 10. It's funny that you should mention that a competitor would be possibly trying to sabotage our due success. I mean, Vauxhall Gardens at some point was a spectacle in the day. I myself spent some time there before they really sadly closed, but our vision for Cremorne is just so much more ambitious. Um, the dancing platform alone can accommodate up to 4,000 people. Can you imagine? I mean, so many people were gathered here in one place. So I think that your supposition of possible sabotage, like to chase people away, scare them from our attractions, is is could be quite valid. Someone had told me, one of my workers, Sven, he had mentioned that there was a set of clothes that looked like they were hastily removed, found in the recess of the hedge maze. Now, yes, there is a reputation for people doing some illicit activities in the hedge maze.
I can hope
True.
not. That seems
It,
stark,
it
stark raving naked in public. That is
well,
suspicious.
I mean, absolutely. That's the thing. I mean, like, luckily it wasn't like couples clothing. Oh my goodness. But the point of just it looked like it was for a single individual, possibly. Well, no, male's clothing, of course. That looked like they were hastily left, possibly like going into a disguise. Who's to say? I would like to think that it's just something chalked up to human agency that we just need to be on the lookout for and kick them out as soon as possible and prove them imposter. Yes.
I like the cut of your jib. And so what I'm
Thank
going
you.
to do is I'm going to I'm going to ask around, and if I get any information that lines up with this line of reasoning, I will send it your way, sir.
I would
You have my word. You have my word, Mr. Simpson.
I would appreciate that, absolutely, because hmm, I mean, as you see, I mean, we have so many things to worry about already. Make sure that they're going to be in great working order and cleaned, and just provide for the people, provide for the populace that come here to enjoy themselves. I can't have this ridiculousness of a fish creature to interrupt our proceedings. Not at all.
Outlandish.
Outlandish. Ah, yes, absolutely. And he will kind of like pop his watch open again and just apologize and scuttle off to go check on something else, for sure. So yeah, that is the clue. A set of clothes hastily removed in an unusual place.
The hedge,
So
the hedge, the
yeah,
hedge maze.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Go ahead and contextualize that if you'd like. Um, I'm gonna head over to Doc. Doc, you are heading to this dive bar. What's it called?
Uh, the pickled dolphin.
Pickled dolphin.
Mhm. I also put in my clue under the creature of Cremorne Gardens, by the way. It's a gray heron feasting on a suspiciously large pile of fish.
Ooh, nice. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
You may want to hit return on that because I don't see it just yet.
Oh,
Thank
there
you.
we go. No
Okay, cool.
problem.
Alrighty. Pickled dolphin. So, yeah, winding alleyways. Like Whistler said, it wasn't that far. He was correct, but it takes a little bit to kind of get around. It's not a straight shot from Cremorne to get to this place. In fact, what it does is like it'll take you down through a mazeway of alleys that kind of lead down from the pier and then away. So it's kind of like, near the water, so it smells quite brackish here, I'm gonna say. Um, so a maze of alleys and down by the pier. So here's my paint the scene question for you all. The pickled dolphin is not easy to get to, nor is it up to high standard. However, it has its own attractions. What here are reasons that the clientele find this place interesting?
I'd say that the bar's namesake is a large dolphin fountain off behind the bar. That instead of water that runs through it, it's a set of bitters that tastes like pickling liquid that they will occasionally put into some of their more elaborate drinks.
I'm going to say they have some pretty tasty meat pies, but they are cut in the bread is cut in the shape of a fish. They were going for dolphin, but it looks more like a fish.
And I forget, is this on the river or further away from it? Because I know
Oh,
Cremorne Gardens are.
it's near the river for sure because
Okay.
yeah, it smells
I want to.
brackish.
Yeah, I was thinking that there would be like a handful of kind of booths near the back where kind of at the feet of everyone sitting in maybe three of the booths farthest away from the door, deepest into the darkest corner of the bar. Um, there's like a glass letting you see the river beneath or water from somewhere.
So you are here at the Pickled Dolphin. Even though it is daytime still, it is quite dim and dark here. I mean, barely any windows because the only light is coming from the strangely placed windows to look out onto the water, near the water, down at the sea. If anybody's so, like, absolutely curious to go towards those back booths. And yeah. You can see the large dolphin behind the bar, like spitting out the bitters, and there is underneath the brackish smell. There is some semblance of flaky pastry of some sort, like baking somewhere.
Very good. And what Doc would what Doc was told about the violent incident here with Peas Blossom was just that like there was a patron of this bar who was at the wrong place at the wrong time, and Peas Blossom. Okay.
Yeah,
Um.
broke the guy's neck basically.
Oh, gotcha. The guy's totally dead. I know for a fact that the guy had his neck broken, probably died.
Yeah.
Okay. Um. Well, then I think Doc would sidle up to the bar, and I think probably Doc would order one of whatever the house does best, and kind of get settled in and try to get a closer look at the darker corners of this bar, which is still dark and murky even in the day.
There is a rather buxom woman like that's at the bar. She's kind of rough looking, but she's like still kind of uh, attractive in a rough and tough plump way, and she's just kind of like wiping down the mugs that she's got there, as well as the bar with the same rag, and it's like,
Ah, you're looking to be new here? What can I get you?
Uh, well, I figured I'd get one of whatever the house does best. As you guessed, I'm quite new here.
Ah, well, you'll definitely want one of these, sir.
and she takes takes a tap of whatever's nearest, and then she'll put the mug underneath the dolphin's snout and like let it like some of the bitters like drip into it, and then she'll slide it over to you.
That's the best stuff you're gonna find this side of the pier, gent.
Great. Doc takes a big swig, uh, and I imagine tastes some complex things. Um,
Say that.
Tickling liquid and such. Uh, I think Doc's able to not tip his cards or let any look cross his face. I think that's pretty easy to. I'm confident in that. Um, Doc goes, I keep finding new things everywhere I go. Where I'm new, I find something brand new, and that is brand new to me. Wow, that don't make that just right here. I can't say I've tasted anything like it before. Well, I figured this place would be exciting. Friend of mine pointed me in this direction since I was in the area. I hear that you've had an exciting past few days.
Eh, you put it like that. I mean, what's a what's a few dead bodies near to the Thames? More for the fishes to eat, if not us. So,
Well, I guess that means I should keep a closer eye on my neck then, if that's something that you might consider regular. Certainly, though, this what was it? This creature over at the gardens nearby that can't be a regular occurrence.
oh, I think that's new. I mean, if you believe that sort of thing, of course. I mean, some people would say it's, having one of our drinks and then heading over to the gardens will make you see anything, love. Ha 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 ha. Ah.
Yeah, I could imagine that. So you don't put any stock in it then? I mean, again, I'm new in a lot of places in the city, as you might imagine, and feel like I've heard a lot of spooky stories in a lot of different corners of the city. I thought I don't know, think twice before writing off the creature as some varmint in a suit.
who's to say? We have lots of legends here. I mean, there's some talk of some spirits about. I mean, you don't know, but again, I mean, if they're just scaring the couples, maybe it's somebody who's jealous and out of their mind. Who knows?
Hmm. Well, if it's someone like that, is anyone fitting that description been showing up around here very often lately?
Why don't you go ahead and make an information move, please?
Sounds great.
With I'd say presence, but I feel like I want to give you a little bit. No, because you do coffin varnish. Never mind. I was gonna give you disadvantage for this weird
Hmm.
ass drink, but I'm like, Doc's taken a lot worse. Never mind.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know if it was actually worse or better than coffin varnish, but I figured that you would know one way or the other.
Right, right, right.
Okay, so that's presence, just
Hmm.
2. Doo-doo. Whoa, that's a 12.
Oh, wow. Okay. What did you say was like, what was your lead in for this?
I was asking about like who's been passing through the pub lately. So I
Okay.
think like trying to get a lay of the land, depending on, what is actually happening out there, that could be a hint about like a person who seems like maybe they've been matching the description of who
Hmm.
you would imagine might be doing this kind of tomfoolery.
Mm, right. Okay.
And also since this roll it got to be a 12, I feel like what happens between the end of my stuttering role playing and the completion of this role is like Doc begins buying shots to do with the bartender because you
Hmm.
made it like seem like it's a slow day.
Yeah.
So buying shots and like being taught a drinking game and losing at it really badly on purpose. I think that ingratiates you to the people.
Okay. All right. So, drinking game. All right, give me a second because there's two really really good things that I want to give you for this. One is the real clue and the other one is the mastermind clue.
Yeah, it's interesting that you talk about the like a possible person that you know wants to make trouble. Someone found a stack of overdue bills, as if someone was in arrears and needed to get some money right away. Perhaps. There's also the talk, of course, of Cremorne being, too big for its britches, and maybe some competition wants to take it down. But I will say that, the idea that someone is, well, getting a little bit on the side to make some trouble is not a surprise.
And as you're talking, I mean, like, maybe you're both leaning in on each other, you're enjoying this pickled drink, and then, like, again, as you say, it's like it just starts getting more involved, and then, she's like, she likes the cut of your jib, and so therefore she'll, like, start pouring out some weird, even weirder shots, and then you toss him back, and we see this montage of you both, like, alternating drinking and stuff like that. But I'm gonna say, as this is happening to you and you're falling under the sway of the drink, and it seems to get darker in this place as if it wasn't already like dim to begin with. But I think as you drink some more of this stuff and fall into like near stupor, I think you're discussing other things that have happened here at the Pickled Dolphin, and then like she's got kind of like a macabre sense of humor about it all because it happens so often. And then I think as you're listening to her talk, she starts sounding more distant, And then you feel like long arms draping themselves around your shoulders from behind you as a very familiar voice, you know, adds to the litany of stories in your ear. Yes, and a decapitated man was found, a donkey's head sewn onto his neck. Isn't that just fascinating?
I feel like I read that somewhere before. Good to see you again.
Her Cobweb is like right there, draped practically on top of you, like at your side, and she is looking into your face, smiling as she has her arms around you, um, around your shoulders. What do you do?
Uh, feel like my immediate worry should be getting stabbed, and avoiding that. So she's like right next to me, draped all over me.
Hmm?
Can I see both of her? Like both of her arms are draped over me, so I can see
Yeah.
both of her hands,
Yes.
and I'm sure they're her real arms and hands.
Uh, okay, so let's just say that this drink is giving you some, I don't know. It's like it's not giving you psychedelic visions, like you're
Hmm.
not in like multicolor or anything like that, but you can see her. Her face is very close to yours. And then like, her arms, you can see both of her arms, like you're not like to the drugged sense yet, I would say, but everything's in very soft focus and it's very dark in here, like
Hmm. I'm at a significant disadvantage, it sounds like.
yeah, but
Uh-huh. Uh, okay, yeah, let me embody that then. Um,
and that was the mastermind clue, by the way.
oh, the
The
donkey.
yeah, the
Yeah,
donkey-headed man.
donkey
Yeah.
person. Yes. I'll make a note of that. Donkey-headed man in my notes. Um, I think Doc then, in a bit of a stupor, uh, I think probably unconsciously his left hand goes to like his kidneys because that feels like a spot that Cobweb might stab you in. And Doc goes, "You've been causing a lot of trouble. This Peas Blossom fellow really I don't know, you seem to have gotten into his head deep, burrowed in, dug in there like a tick."
I think you just see again like soft focus as all you can concentrate on is her lips as she says, "Why? You don't think you can take him on?"
You know, not so much a thinker as a doer, so I'll leave that to when and if. But it doesn't seem like the other people he runs into are equipped to handle his lashing out.
Rest assured, I can take him, and I believe that you can too. And we can fade to black if you want,
Mhm.
as her lips are like really close to yours.
Sure. That sounds perfect.
And then Whitmore, you are looking around. You've left James Whistler to his painting, and obviously Doc has wandered off, and you're looking around Cremorne. I think your steps take you close to or into even the the hedge maze. Okay, I can do this. Hedge maze. That's what I meant. Um, and let me read off some of the descriptors. So, the hedge maze. Towering hedges that seem to block you off from the outside world. Stone benches and fountains. The occasional animal. So, paint the scene for everyone. Unbeknownst to people entering for the first time, the hedge maze is designed to scare patrons. What frightening display do you see when you turn a corner? Paint the scene for everyone.
There'd be a pair of trousers stuffed with straw and a set of boots half stuck under one of the stone benches, as if the bench had fallen from the sky and crushed someone in half.
I'm going to say you go around the corner and there's this rather large spider, since we were just talking about Cobweb, and it's made out of wrought iron, and it's in place, and the spider webs are made out of iron. But there's like human sized or small human sized, maybe children, wrapped in cobwebs that have been captured by this giant spider.
Trying to double check some of our yeses and no in the safety tab really quick. Okay, yeah, I think okay. So I think like situated at almost you can tell it used to be situated higher in the hedge, and it seems to have kind of like bent down with weight now till it's about eye level, is what looks to have maybe been a robin's nest, and now has just like a big overfed and like angrily yet slothily chirping magpie. And like around it on the ground is just a graveyard of other baby birds. This is like a nest that a magpie's egg was left in, and it's kicked out all of its brothers and sisters, and it even seems to have, as this is what I was double checking, so it also it itself seems to be maybe like what's the word, neglected, as though it has scared away or otherwise harmed even its forcibly adoptive parents.
Sounds more like a cuckoo than a magpie, but okay. Gosh. Oof. All right. Great. And yeah, Whitmore, you see these sights as you make your way through the maze, and maybe you are nearing what could be the center. You're not quite sure yet, as you haven't found your way out, or maybe you're just letting your feet do the walking. And there's an inviting stone bench there that you can sit and think. And then there's a tiny fountain. Like, it's unlike the fountain that may be outside of the maze itself. Like, this one's more of like as if inviting fairies to partake.
I imagine that Whitmore wouldn't pass up the opportunity to sit down on a nice stone bench near a babbling fountain and pull out a book to read, just to enjoy the day. It's so rare that he gets a day off. I think he'd intentionally sit at the bench that's got the fake legs on it, or under it, just because.
I think no sooner have you gotten yourself comfortable, like sitting on the bench and then popping out the book and like getting to a very interesting place in said book, that you hear a little scream, and then you see from one of the entrances here in the center that you see Melody. She's in her little capelet, and she's got both hands like, at her chin in shock, like, oh, is that that's not real? Oh, oh, goodness. Oh, that looked so realistic for a second. Mr. Whitmore? Is that you?
Whitmore would make a note of where he is and slide his bookmark in, close up the book and say, "Ah, Miss Bain. Yes, it is. What brings you to the gardens today?"
I was enjoying the walk around. The promenade is quite beautiful. Um, and I met certain people. I even saw Victor, but he looked like he was rushing off. The person that I had been talking to, she left, and then he decided to go after her. Um, and I just found myself here.
Hmm.
Which book are you reading?
as long as you promise not to tell Victor, it's actually one of Rasha Crucius's stories.
Oh, how was he, by the way? um, when you met him?
When not pressed for time, he was a delight to talk to, every bit as bold and brash as he is in the stories. Unfortunately, when push came to shove, he did not exhibit Victor's ruthless efficiency. He seems to be that of a peacock, more show than actual substance.
So you think those stories aren't true? That he didn't do
I,
these things?
the stories are certainly true. Someone did these things, whether or not it was actually Rasha Crucius or someone Rasha Crucius was traveling with, to be determined, but that does not make them any less exciting or thrilling.
True, true. Ah, I wonder who's been ghostwriting these things. Quite fascinating. I'm so appreciative that I've found a fellow fan, I guess. Um, these would not usually be the things that they would consider proper fare for me, of course. I should be languishing on a lounge somewhere and reading like the romances, but I find them a bit boring.
Romance is really only appropriate for real life. There's so much more vibrancy in seeing the curl of someone's mustache or their salt and pepper hair in person than reading about it in a story. Whitmore would say, clearly thinking about someone in particular.
Oh, Mr. Whitmore, are you thinking of anyone in particular?
Miss Bain.
I'm so sorry. I am so sorry.
I'm not
I'm.
one to kiss and tell.
She just has like a whimsical smile on her face at that, and she's just like, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to pry." um,
Quite all right.
I mean, I'm glad to say that things haven't been as exciting or adventurous lately. So, I mean, I've been able to run my business and be able to yes, have enjoy my leisure time when I have it. Oh, did you did you send someone to the shop recently?
Yes, I did. A man we met in our travels, a James Cross. He's a good worker, takes direction quite well, and I did not know if, because you mentioned it was just you at the store, I did not know if you were in need of a good pair of hands. He recently lost his sister in that horrible incident at Three Mills Island, and given that that is his place of work, I did not think it right for him to go back there.
Wise, wise. I mean, he did look curious and rather. He did look like a man who was grieving.
He certainly is. And if you were to, perhaps in an interview or such, ask to see a tattoo that he's got on his forearm or on his upper arm, I believe that may prove some interesting curiosity for you.
Oh, hmm. You intrigue me. Um, he said he would be back. He actually helped me with a little bit of restocking. When he mentioned that he had come into contact with Hargrave House, and he had said
you had mentioned the shop to peruse. Um, yes, I think I mean, if he's willing, I mean, I'm not terribly sure exactly what he had done before, but I could use the help. So,
Figured as much. I can't vouch for his math skills or registry keeping or reading, but he's got a good, strong set of shoulders,
yes.
and I'm sure he can find his way around a feather duster.
I mean, that would be quite helpful. As you can see, I'm not the tallest person, not of the greatest stature, so he can help get at the the higher levels without having to use the step stool.
Yes.
Is there anything you want to do here in the hedge maze while you're here?
Um, I think Whitmore would attempt to work the conversation around to ask Melody who she'd run into. Uh, Specifically, because she mentioned at the start of our conversation that Victor had run off after some woman, and partially out of curiosity to make sure Victor doesn't screw up his own relationship with his fiancée, but just to make sure that he's all right.
No, hmm, she was a kindly old woman. She had approached me when she saw that I was looking at some of um, the old books. There was a cellar there that seemed to have like a cot or a booth of sorts in a small market there at Cremorne, and I was looking through some of the books for things that could be used in the shop, and she had approached me. She had said that she was aware of different things that had been happening around London, and that that's strange. I feel like she had told me her name and then I've forgotten. That's rather odd. Huh. Well, anyway, she was plainly dressed, and she just seemed to be wearing a very comfortable-looking burgundy cloak with a hood. Hmm. She taught me a song. It was very interesting. Hmm.
Burgundy cloak, you say?
Yes, it was the brightest thing that she was wearing. I think she had, I don't know, gray or dark,
Hmm.
a dark color underneath. It's hard to tell. It was starting to be, you waning light, at least where we were.
Hmm. Lord James Campbell-Hughes has a friend who always travels in a burgundy coat.
Hmm.
But that is no matter for now. That is something for later. You said that she taught you a song.
Yes. Yes.
Would you do me and the Fay Fountain the pleasure of singing it? I'd love to hear it.
Hmm. Day move. She's going to start singing the song, and it starts putting you in a frame of mind that could be good, could be bad. What do you think could go wrong if you fail or lose your nerve?
Given everything we've talked about, I feel as though Whitmore's going to strip buck naked and get in the fountain. I don't know. We've talked about people's derobing in this hedge maze,
Mhm.
and it feels that dancing naked in the fountain is exactly what the Fae would want. So that's what happens if I fail.
um, Okay, so this is a day move. It's not a night move, so I'm not going to tell you how it could be worse. But yeah, go ahead and roll. I mean, unless you have something to, you know, use. You don't have any conditions, but I mean, like,
No.
unless you have
So,
something to, yeah, cancel out the disadvantage.
oh, so it's the song. Given that I mentioned that Whitmore's got a book with him, perhaps it was perhaps the large prop book with random other books inside may have provided a passage about stealing one's nerve against, or Rashapusha stealing his nerve against the Fae as those around him went mad,
Interesting. Okay, sure. Go ahead and
if I may use that item.
yes. Again, since you don't have conditions, I mean, you can use it for advantage.
I thought you mentioned it was to cancel out disadvantage.
My mistake. I mean, like, disadvantage
Oh,
would be
fair.
if you had a
Mm-hmm.
condition that would,
Yes.
yeah.
And which stat am I rolling this with?
Composure.
Oh, sure, perfect.
What?
Even with advantage, that's 2 snake eyes and a 2.
What?
Sorry, 2 ones and a 2. That gives me a grand total of 4.
Jeez.
Pick the wrong dice.
Mm-hmm. Oh, interesting. I, I am so sorry. Crap. Um, okay. So I'm gonna have to reverse this completely because I didn't read further into it because the threshold question hasn't been answered. It has no power over you. It doesn't have any power over the hunters because the threshold question has not been answered, whether it's real or a hoax. So, um, I will allow you to roll this as information with reason because I feel terrible. I'm just like, okay, I didn't read through it and that was my fault. That's what I get for not prepping further. Anyway, so yeah, let's remand that. And then we're going to reverse that and then say that um, you are rolling information with reason because you're considering her like singing the song. Like we can do neither sensitivity nor the other
Yeah,
thing. Yeah.
I'm glad you pulled out a mask for that one because that was gonna be hilarious.
Yeah.
And yes, I've switched dice.
Okay.
Am I still using the prompt book, or do you want me to undo that one?
You can undo that one because I mean you don't have to use it if you don't want to.
So with reason, uh, that's gonna be an 8.
Okay. All right. Great. As she's singing this song, I mean, like you're taking it as it goes. I mean, she's quite tuneful, and then she's singing it, about like these drowned sailors and like the legend, attached to them of them going out to sea and then trying to come back, but then like one by one they're lost. Um, and then I think, strangely enough, like with the way she's singing, it's almost like certain vibrations are set off here somehow. I mean, again, like hand wave a lot. And then I think you'll feel some kind of or hear some kind of vibrational ringing when she hits certain notes of this particular shanty. And then I think you trace the underlying ringing sound, like hum vibration, to what looks like slid underneath one of the hedges. You find a ring of keys for Cremorne Gardens. And the way you can tell that is because inscribed upon, like, the keys themselves is, like, different areas marked, which you can tell, like, are gates to leading into the pier or from, you know, other areas of the park that would be gated off. So that's what you find. As and she's, she stops singing as she sees you wandering around, and then, or I should say, she keeps singing as she watches you wander around, and then when you find the ring of keys, she's like, "Oh my, what are those?"
They appear to be a set of keys for the American Bowling Saloon, for the boat house, for the dance pavilion, and these are for Cremarin Gardens.
Who'd leave that here? You think it's one of the workmen?
Perhaps whoever trims the hedge mazes lost a set of keys?
Perhaps. I mean, I saw some of the workers going around to do their maintenance, to get ready for this evening. I mean, that dancing pavilion is humongous. Just that alone, I mean, they're going to have their hands full. Somebody needs these keys.
Shall we go off and try and find someone to hand these to?
Please. Oh, I'm sorry. I had interrupted your leisure. I mean, would you like me to do so? I mean, I'm happy to leave you here.
It's quite all right. Your spending time with you will simply heighten the suspense for what comes next in this book.
You give me far too much credit, Mr. Whitmore. I'm just merely a wanderer, I suppose. Let's see if we can not get into trouble by giving keys back. And
Absolutely.
we have finished. Well, let me ask you something. Do you want to continue on with day phase further, or do you want to just head into dusk? You now have 8 8 clues to play with for the creature question. I mean, so that's something. And then, like I said, I mean, you've already resolved the lurker question, so now it's just a matter of like whether you actually want to resolve said threat if we have a chance to go into night phase. So I leave that up to you guys. I mean, like, if you'd like to continue more with day, fantastic. If you'd like to go right into dusk, we can totally do that too. What would you
I'm
like to
fine
do?
with that. What about you guys?
Yeah, I see no. Oh, go ahead, Doc.
I was just going to agree. I'm also fine with dusk.
Okay,
Same.
cool.
I'm also good with doing the first question for the Cremor Garden too. I think
Yeah,
we got any.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's head into dusk, and then we can totally answer that question, because then that could help figure out what you guys want to do exactly for nighttime, okay? So, hunters heading into dusk. Ba-boom. Alrighty. So, any playbook moves or custom moves that are resolved during the dusk phase. Oh, my American. Please roll for quickening.
Yes. Okay. It's been so long since I've rolled for
I
quickening.
know.
Da, 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 da,
Composure
da.
or sensitivity, please.
Sensitivity, which is +3. Da, da, da. Okay, 9.
Okay.
Whew.
Drained.
Yeah, drained.
Oh. Keep the quickening in check, but just barely. So, I mean, we have that possibility of, like, somebody hanging out with you for night phase. I can't wait for that to happen. Oh my god. All right. So you going drained. Lord James Campbell-Hughes, are you going to activate Royal Explorers Club in any way? No? Okay. And then Whitmore, I believe you have a dusk as well. Dusk move.
Yes.
Okay.
They work.
Yeah.
I either get learn something about an active threat, or a personal item that I found within the house.
What would you like?
I feel like we're good on clues for Creature of Cremorne Gardens.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I'd like to explore West End Wraith a little bit more naturally. So, personal quarters item. I wish she was here to receive this. And it feels like I constantly give Victor personal quarters items when he's not here. But I thought of one and I have to give it to him now. And it is his engagement ring that's been polished.
Oh.
I feel like Whitmore would have found it someplace when Victor first arrived and kept it and polished it up for him. And now that he's made up, I think Victor's engagement ring.
Damn. You may want to put that into the
Oh, go ahead.
Discord chat.
Yeah.
Explain.
Whitmore's stirring the pot.
Oh my god. Holy crap. Okay. While you're doing that. Holy crap. Posing paint the scene. Alright, let me figure out which. The conservatory. A former hunter in residence turned out to be the legendary killer known as Roger the Reaver. This was his favorite room in Hargrave House, the conservatory. Looking around, how do you know that?
And he was a serial killer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say that there are signs that he kept like trophies from the people he killed. And so hung up, we see a lot of up in the rafters of the conservatory. We can see like necklaces. They're like pearl necklaces, or like a locket, or like a gold chain, and they're hung up. And he collected these from his victims.
I think my idea is pretty simple. It's that in the area where you would like sit to listen to something being played in the conservatory, there are like thick iron rings sunk into the ground periodically. Like something you would run chains through if you wanted to hold someone there.
I think that there is on the floor a red bear rug. Anyone who knows anything about biology would know, or anatomy or animals, would know that this is a polar bear rug whose fur is currently blood red.
So, before we ask the question about what you doing for night, let's find out what you want to answer. So, Creature of Cremorne Gardens. Again, you have to decide amongst yourselves, is the creature real or is it a hoax? Complexity 4, and the answer would unlock the appropriate question. So, this threshold question is, again, how you want to treat this particular threat as a table, what your belief is. Okay, so picking from any of those clues that are there, you can roll straight or with pluses, but yeah, you just have to incorporate the clues you want into your answer. Excuse me.
It looks like it could really go either way. What are you guys thinking?
I mean,
Really?
I'm partial to it being real for sure.
I could see it being real, but I still feel that a Scooby-Doo moment of us pulling a mask off someone's face would be great. But we can go real.
That is a valid point, and it would be a nice mix up of pace, right? Like we've been
Yeah,
finding a lot of legitimate.
I'm leaning towards real only because whenever I've played this, it's always been not real. I've never played it with a real creature.
Yeah.
Get out, really?
Yeah, it's
Oh my
always
gosh.
it's always Madame Trousseau's or something. It's always
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Then no reason for it not to be real, especially given that that's what the clues are leaning towards.
Yeah. So go ahead.
Okay.
I mean,
I thought they were kind of going either way, really.
well, I mean, again, however you decide to parlay it towards your particular answer, go ahead and like figure out which clues that you want to use, because then you have to save, well, you would have something left for the eventual other question.
Mhm. So, I mean, we know that fish folk are real, and the dorsal fin that we found certainly is real.
Okay.
If we go with shape changing, that it shape changes, then we can that's where the clothes came from, and that's where the dorsal fin was torn off, shape changing back when it was going back and forth.
Nice.
If you want to go with it being a shape changer,
Yeah, shape changer. Potentially be a shapeshifter. I mean, if it's a shapeshifter, who's to say that it does not take the form of a young woman attempting to lure people down to the water with an unusual song?
And if we want to hedge our bets, add some extra clues here to get better rolling, it could also easily transform into a gray heron and kind of like want to keep an eye on things going around, but also because its innate vibe as a fey creature, like not being good at staying inconspicuous. So like, I'm gonna be a bird. It's gonna be big, and also I might as well get like 50 fish. 50 is too many. You go to like a dozen fish to eat. That'll be fine.
Yeah.
That puts you at 5 clues.
I feel like Victor would have fun fighting a shape changer.
Who's rolling with a +1?
Lord James Campbell-Hughes says this is a real creature for you to fight.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
But if I miss it, right, then it's automatically the other. Like we don't get another shot at it.
So do we want to add in another clue, namely the set of keys? Because I feel that Victor and Melody already explained that someone just genuinely lost their keys. If we wanted another +2 to get a +2.
I think that's not a bad idea.
They could have lost their keys when they were startled by the creature.
Yeah.
All right.
So
+2.
keys are just keys.
My dice fell in this glass.
Incredible.
That is the worst whiskey rock I've ever seen.
I just shook it too hard. That's all.
Yeah, okay.
All right, +2.
+2.
We got a 4 and a 6. That's 10. So we got a 12. Now, if I counted the one in the cup, that's a 3. And it would have been 11.
So good either way.
Yeah. I think we're solid.
So yes,
Slightly
but that
damp,
also means
but
like with a
solid.
12, that's a mastermind shows up on the scene when you pursue the opportunity.
It seems appropriate since the mastermind's at Cremore Gardens sighted, and this might be a creature from their realm. So it seems appropriate.
Question is, if it is real, what does the creature want? This is a complexity 4. You're going to resolve the threat by luring the creature to you, then destroying it or convincing it to go back to wherever it came from. Your choice. So that is the resolution. That is the opportunity that you're going to pursue. Alrighty. So right now you have 2 clues left for a 4 complexity question. Okay? Yep. And the only other threat that is truly active needing to answer is the West End Wraith, and you only have 1 clue for that out of complexity 2. So if that is all you want to do right now for answering questions, then we go on to what are you guys doing for the upcoming night phase?
Well, I will point out that unlike what I feel like has been a pretty consistent run of quickening rolls, unlike all of those that have happened recently, I am the opposite of very strong and capable this night phase. Not only do I not have advantage on vitality rolls, but I feel like the condition drained gives me disadvantage on pretty much any version of a vitality roll that you could imagine. So my thoughts out of character are, if we want to take on that vampire now, it would definitely require all three of us. And I could even make the case that maybe since we're missing Victor and also I am feeling very drained, it's not the night to go exterminate a vampire. Just my
Definitely.
first thoughts.
Oh,
Definitely.
things have already been put into play.
Yeah, I think
The towns that
True.
part of town has been evacuated, and fire marshals are standing by, and so
I think it's once again the three of us infiltrating a lair.
no, it doesn't have to be.
I
Lord
can be
James
good with
Campbell-
infiltrating your lair.
Lord James Campbell-Hughes does this all the time. This is not his first vampire
Oh,
rodeo. If you would like to keep at it at Cremore Gardens, or even go catch a play at the West End, this is Lord Campbell-Hughes's, this is in his wheelhouse.
In that case, given the fact that Whitmore's been given permission to take the night off,
Oh my.
and
Wow.
keeping in mind that I have my person Friday as a move, Whitmore's going to invite Melanie to the West End play.
Oh my god, that's so cute.
You're still on the clock though, because this
Night off.
it's like a
Helping.
like a
She's helping.
madman or a wraith or something there. You're still on the clock. The night is full of terrors, Whitmore.
Terrors.
Yes, Lord James Campbell-Hughes. I will keep ever vigilant.
Okay.
Would you
so-
like me to bring you back a souvenir from the play?
No, I've after the King in Shadows, I've sworn off all theater.
Yeah.
Oh god. Love it. Oh my god.
I feel like I missed most of the play being stuck out back, but yeah, I guess if Whitmore is going to be hunting ghosts by having a night out on the town, Lord James Campbell-Hughes, I think we have a vampire to kill.
I see that you're struggling, Doc.
Yes.
You don't have to do this. I've got like a whole brigade of Scotland Yard and like we're.
You sure?
Oh yeah, quite so.
Okay, well, I guess I'm going to take you up on that because I am very, very out of it. And to be frank, I think I might end up being more of a liability than a help at this point.
Listen, Roy. There's a dark cabal of vampires throughout Western and Eastern Europe, and they set up pockets of insidious covens of blood-drinking, mind-altering vampires. They must be stopped. I've done this many times. Hargrave House has done this throughout the centuries because these vampire foe, they live forever. So have a good evening.
You too. You too, Lord James Campbell-Hughes.
Okay, so since Lord James Campbell-Hughes is getting real full of himself. What
I
are
love
you
it.
doing?
It's
I know.
manic and terrifying.
Holy crap, I'm terrified. Doc, what are you doing?
I guess Doc is just gonna go get drunk. Cause I can use
Oh, you can
as
use
cruel as the harlot's curse.
Sure,
Doesn't have to
sure.
be during the day phase, right?
Right. I
just
mean,
have
like
to
it's
indulge in
really
my
built
vice.
for nighttime. I mean, I just,
Yeah, because it's dark underbelly. So yeah, I'm gonna go do that, which again, like, can result in me getting clues about things, but is more about like not having a particular like thing in mind, I guess, besides going in and drinking.
Sure. Alrighty. In what vicinity are you going to be drinking, though? I have that question. I mean, are you going to go near Cremore Gardens? Are you going back to the Pickled Dolphin? Are you going to go back to Dog and Whistle for Limehouse? Are you going to, I can't remember the name of the bar that you go to. Sorry.
That the hair chasing hounds.
Hair Chasing Hound, right?
I'm very happy with that one. let's see. I've put myself into quite a box with the whole American Saloon on Cremor Gardens. I'm trying to think of a way I could justify going there because that's like an actual drinking establishment,
It is.
right?
It
And
just has a lot of noise to it.
yeah, and it feels like I don't know. I can't think of a way that Doc would actually want to end up going there, but I kind of want to put Doc in that position.
So Bob, it could be that in talking with the artist, he mentioned that he was going there later, and you could be catching up with an old friend.
Yeah, I dig that. Truly any excuse, because that sounds like the most, you know, I when I use this move, I love it. I think it fits for my character. Obviously, I've built so much of Roy into this space of using this move, but
Mhm.
wanting it not to be the same thing every time, not just like, okay, we're gonna go to the bar and chit chat, and it's it's just that way. I like the idea of trying to find that, and I think in this instance that means going to the American Saloon because is it Whistler? What's
Whistler.
his last name? Yeah, so
Yeah, yeah.
Whistler. Yeah, Whistler was like, hey, just in case you're heading out later, I'm gonna be back at the saloon. You should swing by, and I will do that.
I just need to pick an unseen now. All right, great. So as far as I can tell, it's like Whitmore is taking Melody to the Palais de Gaiete. Doc is going to be going to the Darkened City Underbelly. I mean, if you want to see, here's the thing: as cruel as the harlot's curse, I mean, like, it's not necessarily the darkened, seedy underbelly.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
American Saloon is too tourist trap.
it's too tourist trap. I mean, like, I can't. I honestly. I mean, like, letting you use it during the day in the darkest, dankest corners of London,
No, I
fine.
get
But
it.
I mean, but it itself is just not. It's not built that way, because
Yeah,
there's also going to be a ton of people here. If the dancing platform carries as many people as Thomas Simpson says it does, then yeah, it's going to be a busy ass place. Just think of an amusement park for adults.
okay.
Yeah,
Then I think I'll go to the Hare Chasing Hounds just because
okay.
I don't think I've been there for a while on
No,
screen.
no. Okay, cool.
And there's always trouble to be found there.
Oh, sure, absolutely. All right. So, oh boy, now I gotta pick an unseen. Oh boy. So Lord James Campbell-Hughes gonna do the vampire one, huh? Okay. Yeah, let's do the Night Museum. Okay, so the unseen for this evening is The Night at the Museum, line 21, third one over. In the heart of Bloomsbury, the British Museum has recently been expanded and renovated, housing relics of civilizations plundered by British adventurers, explorers, and colonial officers. Kamal Mansour once led excavations in Luxor, but came to work at the museum as a caretaker, and we follow him on his nightly rounds. Okay? So, first prompt will go to Jeremy. Oops. Second prompt will go to Bob. Last one will go to Daniel. Oh, you should have picked this out better than that. Hold on. Does anybody want to do like another one? Want to do a second one? If not, I guess I'll take it.
I think I'd like to see you do one.
Okay. Alrighty.
That's a weird one too. It doesn't.
Yeah, it
really,
is a weird one.
It's a strange one.
Yeah. Alrighty. We'll see. Okay. I'm gonna try to culminate like whatever the hell I hear for Night Face. Oh God, it'll be great. First prompt, Jeremy. Kamal sighs as he sees the soot and grime of industry settling on the Parthenon marbles. What scenes does he see of classical Athens that demonstrate its role as a dominant center of civilization and martial power?
As he glances about, as he takes in the display that's been so carefully set up, we see various sculptures. We see various tapestries behind these marble pillars. The tapestries display all walks of Athonian life, them tending to the fields, riders on horseback, soldiers coming through. And as the camera pans past, the tapestry continues past another set of pantheonic pillars. And the scene gets just a little bit darker. We see soldiers razing villages. We see young babes surrounded in what were once beautiful fields, now sundered to ash. And as we continue the final triad of this tapestry, we can see the Pantheon standing on a hill, surrounded by its former inhabitants, cleared out by the soldiers.
Lord James Campbell-Hughes, you approach the Limehouse School to get at that basement door and such. Who do you have with you?
The I lost the name. Scotland Yard. Scotland Yard has like the whole area cordoned off, and they've evacuated it earlier. And it's now the fire brigade are setting up these big wheeled water pumps, basically carriages with big water tanks on them where they can pump. And so we see Lord James Campbell-Hughes walking past these men, and he's smoking he's probably smoking like a big cigar, and he's wearing a trench coat, and we see there's lots of stuff in there. Like he's got lots of gear strapped in, and he's carrying a couple of canisters of probably some accelerant for fueling a fire. And we just see him walking determined to the door. He's alone.
Doc, you find yourself over at the hare chasing hounds. I think Elway is there, tootling on the keys. I mean, it's crowded, it's dark, you have to do the squeeze to get into the place as it is. And yeah, I mean, what are you doing?
I mean, I think that Doc is sliding up to Elway, and I think there's like a longer pause than normal. And after kind of like gesturing for a drink of the coffin varnish that Doc is so fond of, again, like a longer pause than normal, and Doc goes, Elway, I don't know what it is, but I'm off my game tonight. It's been a long time since I've felt this wistful or empty. Regale me, why don't you? Tell me what's been going on around here. It's been a long time since I've had a peaceful night at the Hare Chasing Hounds.
Wistful and empty, sir? Is it a woman?
I guess you could say so, Elway. I guess you could say so.
And you're not with her? Was it just one of those nights?
Seems like the nights as a whole, as of late, have been irregular, we'll say.
Well, don't sink too far into your drink, sir. You never know when maybe putting your ear to the ground in the right place could yield something.
of interest.
Yeah, that's kind of the idea I'm operating on, Elway. I figured with nothing else to occupy me and no nothing on my mind, that spending some time here might present an opportunity, something surprising. I think that's maybe what I need, something surprising.
And mechanically, it's like for cruel as a harlot's curse, um, you're gonna roll with vitality,
Hmm.
which disadvantage unless you have something to
Um,
cancel out the disadvantage with the drained.
I still have some stuff in my. Hmm. How about I start lacing my coffin varnish with a little bit of this amber elixir in an unlabeled bottle that we got way back during the shortage slugger?
Nice. Okay, so you cancel out the disadvantage, and so you would just roll with straight vitality.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just like pouring nips of it into my coffin varnish throughout the night. Straight vitality. Oh, is that one or two? That's one. So we'll roll it straight. Plus one. That's a 9.
Okay. On a hit, clear a condition, and choose from one on the list below. As you're choosing, I'm going to head over to Whitmore.
Mhm.
So, Whitmore, you invite Melody out for this trip to the Palais de Gaiete, and she dresses for it as she does. Um, I do so enjoy um, these outings, but from what I understand, what you said earlier, I mean, we're just friends, correct?
I apologize if I've come across as anything other than friendly,
It
but
was just some strangeness that Victor had mentioned earlier on, and I just wanted to be sure that that
the,
was just, you know.
you, there's something about you that reminds me of my late wife. The joy in your eye, and it's refreshing and beautiful to see that again. But I'm not sure that my heart could take it. And I believe there is another who has rebuilt the scaffolding around that once broken vessel that I call a heart.
That's lovely. I hope you feel fulfilled in that respect. I mean, there is no limit to love. And I'm not saying it should be me. I don't want to be a replacement for anyone. Um, but if you found where your heart can be full again, then that's all anyone can wish for. There is no limit. It's just whether you open yourself up or close yourself off that determines how far you'll go.
Right? The only real question is if they've opened their heart up themselves.
Quite true, quite true. Well, maybe we can lose ourselves in the performance and then not even worry about what limitations there are. Enjoy the show for what it is, and I hear that Lady Pipewell is an utter joy to watch.
I so look forward to seeing her perform.
Absolutely. Shall we take our seats?
Of course, and Whitmore would find their seats and I guess guide Melody there.
Yep. Bob. Polishing the marble floor in a room of Roman relics, Kamal takes a moment to look around. What items tell a story of the supposed decadence of Rome?
Yes. I wish I had more. I've been trying to put together like a list because this seemed less like normally we're going at like a whole like a moment, right? And there's lots of different angles to kind of flesh out the detail. But here it's like, what is these things? Looking around the room, and I think
And
it's like a very
don't forget with an unseen, you're aiming for like trying to include details or
Mhm,
thematic callbacks to anything mentioned in the hunter scenes.
mhm. Yes. Um, so with that being said, I think there is a marble manger, like a manger carved out of marble, draped in reproductions of like purple blankets, which would have been quite expensive at the time. Um, and then I was trying to find some sort of adornment that consuls in Roman times would wear. I couldn't find one specifically. I know that we're not tied to history, so I'm going to say it's like a little disc, like a non-gender specific tiara, a circlet that you'd wear. This one's the size that it would be like maybe fit well on a horse's head. Like this consul was maybe a horse. Like some important Roman might have made their horse a consul to some other country. Um, and that's a big corner of the room is all of these artifacts that seem to be related to like a very well taken care of horse. Lots of like uh, revived reliefs of said horse depicted in various scenes, like alongside the gods in their great stories. And that's like just a big exhibit over in the corner. There's also kind of among a bunch of other things, a plaque of Olympic names, the names of Olympic winners from a particular year of competition, and then like there, it's tough to tell why, but there's a number of names that have been chiseled out, which is to say, like a number of events had their winner's name chiseled out, um, and then also, and I need to double check if this is the word I'm thinking of. Is amphora the word I'm thinking of? Yes. Um, just like half a dozen identical amphora with lots of Dionysian embellishment. So like depictions of the god themselves, and then like embellishments of grapevines, like carved around the handles or placed around the handles, rather. I'm thinking like bits of pottery, right, attached on there. Lots of dolphin motifs all across, and then like at the bottom, like prowling jaguars. Um, and these like have a little plaque explaining that, to the best of the academics at the museum's guess, these were the receptacles utilized in the famous Roman vomitoriums, which the folk idea, the legend of them is that Romans had these places to go where when they were having their parties and these like extravagant revels, they became too full to eat or to drink or too drunk to drink, they would go to these rooms, these vomitoriums, and they would throw it all back up to make room to go back out and continue to eat and continue to drink. So I think these are the three main things. I'll get those into the page shortly.
Very cool. Lord James Campbell-Hughes. I think as you enter into the Limehouse School covered by, the forces elite of Scotland Yard, I mean, like, those that can handle their own and are ready to be available just in case you need them outside. As you head down to the lair, what do you see down here?
Before I head down, I light this lantern, which is very sloshy sounding, and I make my way to I think it was a staircase that Whitmore found. Was it not? Was it a staircase? And
Yeah.
so we see Lord James Campbell-Hughes undo the stopper of this like 5-gallon um, canister, and he tips it over. And as he's walking down the stairs, we hear behind him a glug 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 as the kerosene is following him down the stairs. This like flow, like a waterfall, um, down the staircase into the basement of the school.
What makes you think that you are close to the creature's actual lair?
Based on what Doc and I found in the alley, and Whitmore's reconnaissance, that I'm fairly certain this is where it is. Based on like where I'm at underground, where the alley where we saw the bats and all that. I think as I look around with a lantern, I probably call out. I probably call out and say, like, Marcello, are you down here? Show yourself, fiend.
Night move. What do you think will go wrong if you fail or lose your nerve?
That they've already left, that they somehow escaped.
No, I'm gonna say that it's worse than that. It is a little bit more canny than expected. It won't come out right away. What it will do is we'll do like a very condensed or claustrophobic game of cat and mouse with you down here, where it will emerge from the shadows next to your ear, whisper something, and then duck back, and then maybe appear in front of you, where you hear the flapping of wings, but you don't see anything, and do this back and forth in order to set you off, make you be rash, and disorient you before it moves in for the kill. So that is what could go wrong.
I'm going to use an item that I've had from day one, and it is a fencing foil. But it's a fencing foil that the scabbard is full of blessed anointed oil.
Nice.
And so I know. So this gives Lord James Campbell-Hughes like a sense of confidence.
Okay.
Number 3. Did you say composure?
Yes. Go for composure.
I don't even know what his composure is. What is it? Is it 1? 2. So we have a 2, and a 3. So that's a 5, 6, 7. Almost did a repeat there of Jeremy's roll, except it's 2s instead of 1s.
You do it or you hold steady, but there's a complication or a cost. The keeper describes what it looks like. As it's doing this cat and mouse game with you, in and out of the shadows, you hear sounds, but you can't see. What are you doing to keep it together?
Oh, probably putting my back against the wall. So I have the lantern in one hand, the cigar in the corner of his mouth, and then the slowly pulling that fencing sword out of its scabbard.
Okay. I think your complication is you hear in the darkness further along. Hello? Hello? Is there anyone there? I seem to be trapped. Help me, please. It's You hear the voice of Jenny Johnston. What do you do?
Well, nothing. Because this just gives out of character, this just gives Lord James Campbell-Hughes more experience points. So
God.
so
Ugh.
he hears the voice and he thinks it's a trick.
Mm.
It's a vampire playing with my mind. I don't trust it. All I know is I'm about to burn this place down, and the place was supposed to be evacuated. If it's Jenny, God rest her soul.
He's so damn terrible. We're gonna find out how this goes later. Doc. All right. So you rolled a 9.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, that's the previous roll. Did you roll?
No, the 9 was what I rolled
Okay. All right.
for the cruel as the harlot's curse.
All right, let's take a look see there because I don't remember what it says. Okay. You do clear the condition drained and you choose from one of the lists below. What did you pick?
I was going to have advantage on my next roll, and I think it says I lose 1 condition, right? Not specifically drained.
Well, you didn't have any conditions aside drained, I thought.
Yeah, I think I still had eager for
Oh,
blood.
eager for blood. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So I'm imagining this is like a success, but mostly in like it's hard to be eager for blood once you've kind of made an ass of yourself. And I think that this night ends with Doc like growing up in a horse trough behind the bar. And that not necessarily being, again, not addressing the drainedness he's feeling or giving him the energy back he's had, but perhaps like forcing him to sit in this lower place a bit longer, and that's the kind of thing that removes such caustic conditions as like eager for blood, right? It's hard to wake up the next morning after a night like that night and be like, I'm gonna go hunt monsters, and you just kind of want to figure some stuff out.
So that's the condition you're going to remove then?
Yes, I'm gonna remove eager for blood.
Okay. All right. And then you pick to gain some resistance. So the next quickening roll, you're going to increase the success tier by 1 step.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, you find yourself out there lolling in the horse trough. What do you want to do here?
I think go home.
Okay.
I think start walking back to Hargrave House.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which I think in particular is a partially foolish, a little bit dangerous prospect. At night, and also in this state. I think, like I said, Doc is still drained. So kind of an asking for trouble decision, I think, is what me as the player, I'm trying to go for there, is like asking for some trouble.
Sure. Let's see.
Because yeah, even more than Whitmore, technically, Doc was given the night off. And like that kind of soured, it kind of petered out pretty early. When you end up in the horse trough, you go home. I could run into an animal because I have that special thing.
You could. Tell me what you think you run into.
I mean, if we want to make it as cool as humanly possible, and this kind of happened to me one time. I spent some time in Italy studying abroad in college, and I have family there. And so near the end, I went to go visit them, and there's this town right near where my family's based in Tradacqua in like the Abruzzo region. I forget its name. I've been trying to remember it lately, but it's either exactly where or near where Ovid was born. It's like a pretty small town. Introdoc was very small and like in the mountains. But I just remember my cousin and I went to this nearby town because Introdoc was very much like a village. And he just wanted to take me out to get a couple beers and chit chat. We met each other the first time early that morning. And so we arrive in this town. We're trying to find parking in this little like Fiat that he has. And the streets are pretty narrow and they're cobblestoney, but nothing crazy. And then like next to the window, a wolf walks by, just like, and we're in a Fiat, so it's tiny. So like the wolf's shoulder is at where it's almost at my head level, right at the door, at the window level. And it was just one of the most cool and spooky and like magical feeling moments ever as we're driving through this small town near even smaller town far outside of Rome, just like in a downtown. The cobblestones here have made this civilization for hundreds of years. It would be like a wolf.
You hear panting behind you, but it's not dog-sized, let's put it that way. It is where you hear the panting and then you hear the padding of the steps behind you. Casual at first, but definitely not the footfall of a human. And I think in the distance, as the mist and the fog rolls in this evening, I think you hear, "Oh!" Whitmore, you and Melody are at the Palais de Gaiete, and you sit down for the show. But you notice that as the curtain, just before the curtain parts, and the house lights go down, you notice the ghost of some letters that are on the curtain. And they seem to say, "Love never dies." You are getting into the show. It seems to be something very pastoral, accompanied by lots of body songs. So think pastoral, kind of, wandering in the woods and, doing some kind of mistaken identity slash romantic shenanigans happening on stage. Lady Pipewell is in fine form, singing some beautiful things. But then there's a gasp as someone sees something overhead, and you hear like let's just say that you two ended up in one of the boxes up above, and then from down below you can see somebody at a table like pointing upward into the gods, and you see some kind of indistinct figure dropping something onto the stage before hearing a cackle and a laugh, and the figure cries out, "Love never dies!" And I'm gonna say that there's some sabotage. I think you'll see something that looks like nooses dropping down, and they're dropping down in random parts of the theater on people's heads. And you hear a choking next to you, Whitmore, as it looks like one of these nooses has dropped on Melody's head and is suddenly choking her.
I mean, Whitmore's first reaction is to reach up and attempt to try and pull the noose off, but realizes that probably after a quick tug that pulling the noose only makes it tighter. I think you try and feed what's left of the noose above the knot down through in an attempt to undo the noose around Melody's neck.
This is going to require a steady hand.
Yeah, well,
Night move. Composure, please, because you're, yeah. Speed, steady hand, all that.
So if I don't succeed, I don't think the noose comes off. I think we lose Melody. I never like it when you agree for night moves.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. I'm not. I mean, unless somebody's got a worse idea than that. I mean, I don't have anything at the moment.
Ah, thank goodness. That's gonna be a 9 on composure.
Okay. Yeah, tell me how you get the noose off.
Um, I think all the while, Whitmore in a sultry feels like the wrong word, but in a low, sensitive voice, um, is just constantly saying, don't struggle. Breathe through your nose, small breaths. And with one hand on the knot, on the rope knurl at the top, the other hand just slowly squeezes through what's left of the rope as the noose loosens around her neck. And as soon as there's enough space for her to actually take a proper deep breath, Whitmer would say, hold it, not just yet. And then as soon as the noose is completely undone and the rope falls around her like some demonic shawl, breathe.
What was that? What's going on?
I don't know. And Whitmore would look around and see if nooses have aligned themselves on the necks of the other people who appear to be on dates.
Yes. Yes. Looks like
Hold,
it.
hold this for me. And Whitmore would take off his coat with long pockets from his personal quarters that he wore, pull out a scissors because it's got so many hidden pockets, or a knife, a small knife, and jump from the box down onto the ground floor and attempt to start cutting the rope off of other people. He realizes there isn't time to slowly do this one by one. While probably yelling up at the heavens, just because love never dies doesn't mean you should attempt to kill it, as he tries to undo as many nooses as he can.
This isn't necessarily directed at you, but you're not sure. But you hear from the gods. You are trying to keep me from my love, and you have stepped into my domain to do so. Love never dies, but I'm afraid the same won't be true for you. And some of them will pull tight. Gonna leave it on that exciting bit, and like for right now, complication. Unseen. Daniel. In the Egyptian hall, Kamal is surrounded by the works of his ancient ancestors, some of them pulled from the sands by his own hands. What here demonstrates inevitable, looming death?
We see a lot of these artifacts with hieroglyphics on them, and there's a very large um, column that's covered in hieroglyphics, and we can't read it, but they're like semicircles and feet, and you know, snakes, you know, they all mean something. We don't, viewers, we don't know what it's saying, but we do see a very large, underneath all that, a very large engraved a figure of Anubis, the god of death, and he has then there's drawings of men, women, children, warriors, priests, scribes before him, and he has like a very heavy noose in his hand, and hanging from it is what appears to be like a young woman, and they're all marching towards this god of death.
Lord James Campbell-Hughes, not fallen for it. At least you think so. And You got a 7 for that. I think as you near the edge of the lair, I think you can hear like a splashing, and it sounds very thick, very viscous, and you have the distinct metallic smell of blood. And you can hear this whimpering on the other side of it in the darkness. Please, please, someone help me. I don't know how I got here. Please help me. What do you do?
He's looking for any sign of the vampire moving quickly or just in the shadows.
And this lantern is like, your only source of light, correct?
Right.
Yeah. All right. Well, night move. If you're not going near the whimpering, then it's going to be a night move as the vampire's trying to stay close enough to pounce, but yet not so close that you're able to see. So, night move, please, with... Let's change it up and make it sensitivity in this case, because, the creature is trying to stealth you. How do you feel?
Determined.
Hmm.
He's going to try to firebomb the vampire.
Okay.
Wherever I think I hear the voice,
Yeah.
the whispers, he's going to hurl basically like a Molotov cocktail made out of this 3 mil gin. So he's got like some kind of wick in there, and he's lighting it with his cigar. And as soon as it catches flame, he throws it in the direction that he hears the chiding and the movement.
The St. Cecilia Gambit. All right, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, night move. So, what are you afraid will go wrong if you fail or lose your nerve?
I'll miss him. The child is just too fast.
Yeah.
I'll miss the fire. Even though it's an area of effect, I'll miss it.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I think it's worse than that. I think it's like, you're going to throw it in such a way that you didn't realize it, but you created a ring of fire around yourself. So burn, baby, burn. Sorry. Yeah. So go ahead and roll, please, with sensitivity.
Sensitivity.
Yeah.
That -1. -1. All right, I'm going to mark the bottle of 3 mils gin.
Okay.
-1.
Okay.
I've got
Advantage. Yeah.
I've got a 6 and I got 2 2s and a 6. Man, the 2s are hot tonight. So take away 1, that's 7.
Okay. All right. So you do hit. You hear a squeal of the vampire. Tell me what you see, what it looks like as it gets hit and starts to go aflame.
I think it's have we seen it? Have we seen the child? Has any of us actually seen the child? I don't want
I
to.
don't think so.
So we see what looks like just this probably a precocious looking street urchin, right? But as soon as the moving quickly and with a sneer and a whimsical smile, but as soon as the 3 mile gin, as soon as it like lights up the area and catches it on fire, we see it change where it no longer has these like golden locks of hair, but it's more like pale and bald with feral looking eyes and a mouthful of teeth. Like it didn't look like the child that we were expecting as the fire like lashes out at its undead flesh.
I'm also going to say that the child precociously snarls at you as it's lit up by the flame, but you know, from the darkness it will pull its one arm close to itself, and in his arms is Jenny Johnston, who's tear streaked and dirty, and she's just pleading for help, any help. And it looks like, hold on, let me look at safety. Let's just say it looks like he blinded her in some way. And she's crying, and the creature is putting its face next to hers and saying,
Life? Don't you value life? Here's life right here. What's to stop me from taking this one?
You don't know me very well. And we see Lord James Campbell-Hughes pulling out like this really large pistol, and he's got this like dripping sword with anointed oil on it, and he's like marching towards the the vampire with like cold steel in his eyes.
okay, alrighty. Doc, this wolf is in front of you, or I should say, like, is huffing behind you. And as it nears, you realize it's bigger than you thought.
Hmm.
We're talking dire wolf size.
All right. I think Doc knows that when you're in this situation, you don't run, you stay calm. So I think Doc's going to turn around, and my awakened soul lets me ask you, since I've encountered an animal,
Mm-hmm.
what does this animal want me to do? And you will answer truthfully, it says, and completely. And when I act on the answer or pursue a course of action in which an intuitive understanding of an animal's behavior would be helpful, any associated roles are taken with advantage.
I think they want you to help them leave this place. They recognize you somehow, as a fellow outsider, a fellow monster of sorts, not in the right habitat, and just wants you to help them find their way home.
All right, that's perfect. I think Doc probably has beef jerky. That sounds like a thing that Doc has on hand that cowboys must have. So like Doc approaches and like oh, gets some beef jerky in his hand, opens it, shows it to the wolf, and then like lightly tosses it into the space between them. Um, and then I don't know where like what's the hard part of this? Is it convincing the wolf to follow me? Is it finding the best? So I'm essentially I want to get this wolf out of town, is what you're saying it wants me to do. It wants me to help it get out of the city area out to like towards the woods or someplace less populated. Probably not the woods.
It'll
I think there's
probably be like a situation of, yeah, like trying to find its way home, although it's not sure where home actually is.
Hmm.
So,
Well, once I've given the beef jerky and gestured for it to follow me, I guess I'm gonna try to help it with
okay,
that
okay.
through like I'm imagining like you know how Doc always does that thing of trying to find information by like running, just kind of walking around like a big antenna for strange happenings, meets like a little bit of a classic Appalachian like dowsing techniques. Like how else do you find the home of a wolf that doesn't know where home is, but to do some sort of weird homespun folk magic?
Okay. Let's have you do that. Um, if you want to do like an information move of some sort, I mean, like, we can try to finish that off and parlay it somehow for the last section.
Sure. Okay.
Reason, actually, sensitivity, because this is a strange situation.
Hmm. So you want me to roll that now and then
Yeah.
We'll come back to it. Okay.
Yep.
So +3, and then I do get advantage with that, right? For
Act on the answer. Taken with advantage, yes, please.
okay, so that's 3d6. Take the two highest. +3 for sensitivity. That's 13.
Oof.
5, 5, 1 +3.
Oh boy.
Exactly how you want to see that happen. Everyone
Well.
listening at home, that's exactly how you want to see that happen.
All right, we're gonna resolve that like at the last. Okay.
Totally.
All right, so Whitmore. Yeah, Melody's panting on the bottom of the box, and you've jumped down to try and help as best as you can, but you know, you can't help everyone. These noose traps are more than you can handle on your own. What would you like to do, or how would you like to handle this?
It's the debate of do I call for Melody's assistance, or do I see if there's an usher or a butler or a ooh.
Or
With
you can take the path of least resistance and observe via the information move to see if you can get information about this wraith
I do
in
like
sacrificing the whole saving thing.
Is Whitmore okay?
Only you would know if it would
Yeah, no, I'm aware.
after that. Oh God. I'm giving you a very impossible choice. I'm sorry.
You are. Because I was also thinking about trying to get Lady Pipewell to call the spirit off. But I think if Lord James Campbell-Hughes has taught Whitmore anything, it's that occasionally people die. And I think Whitmore has to let some of them die. He's gonna fight for as many as he can. But Whitmore's gonna look up at the spirit that's doing this and try and suss something out.
Right. So, information move, please, with reason
That's good.
or composure. I mean, reason if you're doing observation, composure if you're trying to have a steady hand as you're trying to save folks. It is up to you how you want to interpret that.
I think we need Whitmore's mental faculties here as his hands sort of falter with the knife, not paying as much attention to the actual saving of people and more to the threat that's causing it. 5, 6, 8, 9. That is a 10 on the dot.
Perfect. All right. Tell me how you're observing, saving. Tell me how you're doing that, and I will give you a clue before we go to the end, the last unseen and the end.
So it's Whitmore abandoning all excuse me and pardon me's as he scoots down the aisle in between people. It's the first couple nooses come off easy as he's just focusing on that. And as the wraith delivers the line about Whitmore stopping him, he turns to the stage, face to face with the wraith, some 20 feet in the air above the stage. And without saying anything, Whitmore would keep his eyes locked on the wraith, trying to take everything in, still physically with his body shuffling down, attempting to hack at the rope without looking, trying to do both. And when he hears the person next to the person with the noose yelp out that I've just nicked an artery, Whitmore would stop what he's doing and just focus on the wraith.
I'm gonna post the clue, but I won't say it in full because it's like you won't be able to know the full thing until after stuff. But I think as you are focusing on the wraith, I think it realizes what you're doing and then will duck out as soon as possible, like try to escape uh, true observance. And something drifts down from where they were. Looks like a news article, but all you have time to do is snatch at it, and you go back to trying to undo as many traps as possible. And we will go heading over to the unseen real quick. Kamal pauses in the doorway as he sees two young scholars meeting beneath the statue of Ganymede, one of them nervously clutching a pamphlet of Uranian poetry. As he watches, how do they awkwardly, wordlessly negotiate their assignation? And I think they are approaching each other quite tentatively, and they approach each other step by step, and as each one steps towards the other closer to the statue, they will go laterally, like they're kind of like sidestepping, not looking at each other, but then also doing surreptitious glances in their peripheral vision. And maybe the one that has the pamphlet will switch it from hand to hand, but do so in such a way that the title, the book itself, the pamphlet, is showing to the other person, showing what it is, and perhaps like having a little side smile to show, that this is what they're there for. And then the other will respond with also a sidelong glance and a side smile as they step towards each other, not looking, staring straight at the statue, but then coming together and standing next to each other, looking at the statue. Their hands drop to their sides. The one hand with the pamphlet still in it ending up being clasped by the other, reaching out to also clasp their hand with the pamphlet. And they stand there looking at the statue of Ganymede and squeeze each other's hands, clutching the pamphlet. And back to the end. So, Lord James Campbell-Hughes, tell me how this ends as you approach the vampire, who is grinning his toothy grin from ear to ear. Even as you approach, will still have Jenny Johnston in its clutches.
He sees it like Jenny's probably been bitten and in his mind infected, and we see him simultaneously shoot this this Howdah pistol is double barreled, and so we see him shoot both Jenny and the child, and then with the sword dripping with these anointed oils, like run them both through. As the fire is like catching from the stairs, and the whole place is like falling in around him on flames.
Do you just run up the stairs? Do you look back?
I think there's probably another exit, and we could see like some fire crews are like pumping water in where the fire is like raging behind us, And so we see some fire crews with some axes like chopping through some basement entry doorways from like the alleys. And he exits there with a fire crew and tells them to like, he starts directing like water flow and things like that.
Okay. And then Doc. Yeah. So tell me what it looks like as you try to get the wolf to follow you home, if that's what you want to do for right now.
Well, I guess my question is,
We can't keep it.
yeah, my question is, am I bringing it to my home or am I bringing it to its home?
That is up to you. You tell me. You have narrative control since you got the 13.
Okay. I like the idea of, oh, this is going to be such a silly comparison, but it's like that joke post about saving a squirrel, and then one day that squirrel like comes back in your darkest moment to save you wearing a suit of armor and stuff. So the less ridiculous version of that, I like the idea of sending this animal off to do its own thing and just like knowing somewhere out there there's a big, perhaps magical wolf that like owes me a favor. I like that. The potentiality of that is cool for me. So I think I'm leading it out of London, and I think that looks like skulking through alleys and like taking small dips into sewers. Um, just for like the animal factor. There's one moment that you might call adorable where I have to like try to pick up this giant dog over my shoulder and like carry it down a ladder into the sewers. But we're like, it's mostly about not being seen. And I think because of the framing as it being a sensitivity role, there's lots of like getting a bad feeling at the last moment and like moving into the shadows, and then like some bobbies from Scotland Yard walk by where we would have been if we hadn't taken a step back. Lots of like snuffing outs of candles and gas lamps to give ourselves extra cover until we're able to find like I don't know if there are walls around London at this point, but like a side gate, a dark part of town, like towards probably the lower class neighborhoods that I imagine more readily open up into like farmland in the hills and such. And then I like wish it farewell and let it kind of like just stand there, watch it go into the distance under the light of the moon.
I think it will be at the top of a cresting hill as it leaves, and you see its silhouette turn back towards you. And then in acknowledgement, it will howl at the moon. And then, as you turn back to the city, somehow behind you, maybe you didn't notice when you were leading the wolf out, or maybe it's something that happened after this strange night. But you will see as you enter back into the city, you will see hundreds of elaborate chalk drawings of doorways all over the buildings, all over the walls, near where you're at, each one smudged as if being furiously erased. That is your mastermind clue for that 13. It's late now, but I can act upon it later. So, yeah. And then Whitmore. Yeah. What do you do now? You've grabbed the crinkled news article.
And I imagine that everyone who had a noose on them is deceased.
Some maybe their partners were as quick thinking as you, were able to extricate them out, but yeah, there are some that have not survived.
I think that Whitmore would clamber onto the stage and check on Lady Pipewell, see if Billy's doing all right.
I mean, she was huddling under like one of the props that's on the stage, like to just try to keep out of the way of the dropped nooses. And, she's huddled there and just, why? It was just pranks before. What is this? This? And, she's staring out at some of the people that haven't gotten out of the nooses and just
Small.
Yeah.
Or would try and gesture to one of the stage hands to drop the curtain.
Yeah.
And he would escort Billy back to her dressing room.
I think there's as the curtain drops again, there's the ghost of the words scrawled on the curtain, but this time somehow one of the spotlights has shone fully on it, and everyone that's here sees love never dies as the lights fade and the camera goes black. And we end our session for this evening. So, yeah. Limehouse Lurker is resolved. And rewards, I'm just going to read them off and then I can post them later if you want to take your pick later on. I'm just going to read them off. 3, 4, 5. Yep. Jenny Johnston becomes a recurring side character. It doesn't work.
Maybe as a ghost.
Maybe as a ghost. So, yeah, it could be. I mean, I'll allow it. You know me. You get 1 extra clue on the information move when you seek out her counsel about events in East London. She's trapped here. It's a ghost. Oh my gosh. The Man in the Sun Mask becomes a recurring side character. You get 1 extra clue on the information move when you seek his counsel about other worlds. A memento from the investigation. Ask another hunter what it is and then add it to your personal quarters. The vampire becomes a recurring side character. Nope, not necessarily. No. And a memento from the investigation. Ask another hunter what it is and then add it to your personal quarters. So, yeah, I can post that in the chat later on to see what you guys want to pick. But that's the rewards available. And we head into Dawn real quick. Answer Dawn questions. All right. Did the hunters answer a question, my American? Did the hunters answer a question? Yes. Did hunters resolve a threat? Yes. Did you experience an echo in the night?
I threw up into a horse trough.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Did you
So,
have a
yes.
Okay. Did you have a raw, passionate sexual encounter during which your feral nature manifested?
It depends on what happened after we faded to black in the bar with Cobweb,
I'm
but
okay if you want to mark that because we faded
yeah.
to black. It's fine.
All right, cool. I did not do the next one though. I don't believe I shared a treasure. I was
I don't-
going to. I want to give you a peek behind the curtain. Lord James Campbell-Hughes, when he was like laying out the secret groups of vampires doing this all the time, I was gonna do a and how he does this all the time. He like exterminates vampires. I was gonna tell a story about how Doc used to ride with a guy who had the same attitude towards gophers
Oh
and
my
make fun
god.
of me. But like you edited out
You should save that for vulnerable move.
Yeah,
Yeah,
save for vulnerable move. That's so
I'll-
fun.
yeah, now I've got, yeah, you're right. Yeah, that'd be perfect to come back to it. But yeah, anyway, so I just wanted to let
Yeah.
you know. You ended on such a perfect note though. Of course I couldn't
Okay.
put a hat on a hat. Anyway.
All right. Take those points. Clear your XP. Clear your dawn questions, and then change your elective dawn questions if you so choose. Lord James Campbell-Hughes, hunters answers a question. Hunters resolved a threat. Echo in the night was marked. Yes.
Yeah, the noose with the Anubis.
Mhm. Yep. Did you use your loyalty to Her Majesty to justify your brutal actions?
Yes.
Yes. Did you deliver a chilling, dead-eyed monologue about the horrors of the world? Oh yeah.
I tried to with Doc.
So go ahead and take those points. Clear your dawn questions. Change your elective dawn questions if you so choose. And the factotum. Hunters answered a question. Hunters resolved a threat. Did you experience an echo in the night?
Feel that I did. It was either with the clearing of all the nooses or the latest trend in Olympic sporting glory, the theater booth vault, vaulting over.
Yes.
As
Did you,
far
yeah, demonstrate obsequious behavior towards your employer in front of others? Trying to remember.
the dialogue with Melody in the garden maze about one's heart being built up by the scaffolding of another.
Is that enough obsequious behavior? That feels like more romantic
No,
behavior.
no, very fair.
Did you ensure your employer got credit for your triumphs?
I was not able to.
I thought you did it
Oh,
last
yeah.
time, though, in the last day phase, though, because I mean, I felt like you did something that's like, that was such a great idea, sir, or something like that.
Oh,
You can totally take that point.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
I heard that one for definite sure.
I did
Take
not
those,
add it to my list.
okay, take those points, clear your dawn questions, and then change your elective ones as you so choose. I added answered a question and resolved a threat to Victor's dawn question track, so he can always take that for next time. And then, yeah, say quick stars and wishes. I apologize for keeping you guys over. But yeah, that was pretty punchy, even for me. Holy crap. So yeah, stars, what you liked, and wishes, what you want to see for next time.
There's so many. It was a crazy night.
Yeah. Much.
For Mads, I really liked. I mean, you started off strong with Simpson, but then when you went to that bartender, the pickled dolphin, it just kept getting better and better with the side characters and the creepy nooses and putting Whitmore in an unwinnable situation. All stars all around, Mads. Bob, the pickled dolphin, just come up with the idea for the pickled dolphin in the drinking game. I like how you worked in the drinking game. I like that you were committed to going. You didn't get to, but after avoiding it for like the entire last session, you ready to go. You're ready to go to the American Saloon. Let's do it. And so big star for that. Even though it didn't happen, you were. I think you were committed to going. Jeremy, just almost seeing Whitmore naked, entranced and dancing in the fountain, like you were robbed. And then a star for bringing Ross Cruces back with the book, and big giant star for the polished engagement ring. That was awesome. That's a great one.
Stars for the imagery, Daniel, of the waterfall of kerosene coming down the basement stairs as you soloed a vampire that we were planning on having this a full team for. That was brilliant. Bob, you went everywhere with your story about being in Italy with the wolf. And I could not tell you what animal it was going to be until you said, and then there was a wolf. And that was a delight. But for an in-game thing, cowboys must have beef jerky. I mean, that was great. And Mads, on the flip side of Daniel's, thank you for saving Whitmore from getting naked and climbing into a fountain. As far as a wish, I hate to spoil the illusion that we play in a timeless void, but given that we will have a threat coming up and that the holidays are around, I would love to see if there's such a thing as a very Hargrave Christmas. Just, I'd like, if possible. If not, no words, but it would be fitting.
Incredible. As always, y'all picked some really wonderful stars. Daniel, I got to give it to you for that monologue I mentioned. Not only did it end at like the perfect comedic beat, everything on the timing and the reservation in it was perfect, but like it also stood up really well as a bone-chilling monologue about the dark, terrible things in the world. And to say it gave me whiplash would be an understatement. I think that's really impressive. Um, there's just so much about what Whitmore has been up to these past couple sessions, and this doesn't make any sense. But the thing I keep wanting to say is like it's almost like Whitmore has multiplied himself by himself in these past couple sessions, because he's really like blossoming and exploding and rising and like fighting alternate dimensions encroaching on ours, and then like taking something simpler. I think you get what I mean as I've waxed on about that, but something simpler, bringing an NPC into a dangerous situation like that just is really smart story instinct, and really led to a interesting, tense situation across the whole night. So star for that. Star for I know I put it on my list, but star for getting to like Cobweb to show up at the perfect time, and just like oozing this everything that Cobweb is, especially the menace. Really, the menace of Cobweb gets across super well in all of the performances you've given of them. So huge star for that. But also in general, just for populating the world so well. To second on what Daniel was saying, like that bartender at the Pickled Dolphin was just like, it was so good, and it filled out all the space. It carried that scene from my perspective. So star for that. I will hedge the wish that was just wished to hopefully give us something as a compromise that I feel like maybe probably could happen, if not a full Christmas episode. Because we're so loosey goosey with time. What time of the year is it right now in the London we're in? Who knows? Who knows? We don't really give a lot of details. I would wish for just that next session to maybe have some details that make it really winter. I live in Tennessee. I don't get that at all. It was 80 degrees 2 days ago for me. So like just some imagery of snow, something wintry happening. I think that would be a great area for me to, play in.
Fair enough. I have the choice of two, possibly three, Christmas threats that I could bring in for next time. So, I mean, thinking on, I was thinking about like including a Christmas threat because, well, we only have one more play date before the end of the year. But I mean, it's gonna stretch on for as much as it's gonna stretch on, so not a big deal, and it's fine. Um, I mean, even when I finally air these episodes, it's like it's probably not going to be the time of the year that it actually is, so it's fine. But yeah, so I'm excited if you guys actually want to do one. So I'll be checking safety because one of them is a little bit more grisly than the other one. So we'll see. All right, I'll find out which one sounds more interesting to you, but we'll do that offline, and hopefully we'll be able to see Paul for the last episode of the year, and then we will commence with a Christmas threat of some sort for next time. So I'm excited about that, and thank you for bringing that up, because it's like, yeah, I'm glad to always hear about what you're interested in seeing. And yes, I can bring on a total like winter at Hargrave House. That's fine. Pardon. And so, yeah, stars for everyone's character, specifically because factotums are the ones who get shit done. But I mean, I did put you in a very, untenable position there, Jeremy, for Whitmore, and it's like, I am so sorry, but it just seemed to fit the situation, so I felt like it worked out, even though tragically. And then James Campbell-Hughes, boy howdy, I mean, was he going off on that whole like, keep calm and carry the fuck on. Absolutely. That was Lord James, all wrapped up in a bow. He was not taking any shit from anybody, including a vampire, regardless. So that was amazing. Brutal, but amazing. Because he was gonna let Jenny die, and I get it. It's just, yeah, wow. And then Doc, I love Doc just because he's such a goofy ass American and he's just doing his own thing. and I thought you handled the scenes over the bar very well, and I threw you a curveball with the wolf. So we'll see. I mean, like, this wolf is not done. At least I don't plan it being the last time that we see this animal. So I'm excited to include that for later. For next time, Lord James needs to give us a mask. Since we did a mask, he pulled on a mask today. And then, yeah, your next quickening roll, Doc, is going to be increasing up by one success tier. So that's cool. And then I have to post the rewards for Limehouse in the Discord so everybody can pick. All right, including Victor. Alrighty. So, if nothing else, you guys have happy gaming for the next couple of weeks before I see you again. And for the next few weeks, excuse me. And happy Thanksgiving. Because that's going to happen before we before we play again. Damn. Oh, God. All right. Yeah, so happy Thanksgiving, happy gaming, and I will see you next time. My gosh. All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye all.
Bye.
Bye.